doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck?
Quite a lot, in fact, in Flyers world, and not really good things, unfortunately.
No, we will get into all that negative stuff that I really don't wish to talk about, but apparently it's what's going on. I really tried to will this into, it's not that big a deal, it'll be fine. Even had a dream last night that Foerster was going to miss like a week, but that's not going to be the case. We'll get to all of that, however, in a little bit. Couple of things I got to tell you about to lead off today's show. The first of which, the DieHard sale is still going on. I was unaware when I told you all last night that you only had a few more hours to sign up. Apparently, Cyber Monday extends through today, so you got like, I don't know, 8 hours to get in on this. Go to allphly.com right now and sign up to become a diehard for the lowest price ever. $26 for your first year as a diehard. You get a free t-shirt, you get a discount on merch, you get access to the Discord, and of course, you get all of our all-star roster worth of writers, pieces, everything available at allphly.com. Charlie, at all.
Yeah, if you're watching this show on a daily basis and you're not a diehard, clearly you like what you hear from me and Bill. Bill's written content so far is free, but mine you do have to pay for.
We're not charging you
$26 for a year is as low of a price as we're going to give, and you also get access, as Bill mentioned, to the Discord.
Yeah.
I'm in the Discord every single day interacting with our regulars. We have a lot of them, especially in the Flyers channel. It's an extremely active channel. It is a bit reminiscent, I would say, of like old Flyers Twitter, which is cool. So would highly recommend you spend the money. It's really not that much.
$26.
I mean, I get when it's at its peak, when we're, still, you should still subscribe, you should still become a member, but at this point, like, we're talking about what, like a third of the price of one video game?
Yeah.
Like 3 coffees?
Yeah, 23 coffees. Yes, actually, that is about right. Yeah, it's really $26 for the year. It's a great investment. You get so many different things,
and this is the best it's going to be in terms of price.
This is it doesn't go lower than
we
this.
will run other sales over the course of the year, but they will never be the same.
It seems as if we're telling you every month about some sort of special or something, but it never goes lower than 26, at least as far as I know. It's what they've told us. I believe them. $26 for the year. Sign up.
We've never had. I guess the better way to describe it is, we've never had a sale this low before.
We haven't.
I guess it's plausible that at some point, 4 or 5 years down the line, we will run a sale that is even a lower price. But this is the lowest it's been since I've been here, and that's been over 2 years.
Yeah, things get cheaper with time. That's how inflation works, I think.
I don't think that's how it works, Phil.
Well,
I wish that's how it works.
Anyway, sign up. And also, speaking of spending, listen, I know Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday, all this, we've been asking for a lot, but today is Giving Tuesday. We're not asking for money for us.
This is fun.
This is for the big brothers and big sisters of America. We are raising money for BBBSA, and here's what donations are going to get you, because you're going to give and feel good, because that's great, but you want to know maybe how it benefits you. Well, for every $50 donation we receive, I will do 1 cartwheel. For every $100 donation we get, I will attempt to do a kip up. Now, I was able to do these in like high school. I'm 37. We'll see how it goes. We'll have video of it either way. And for every $100 donation, I will attempt that. For $200, for every $200 we get, Charlie will have a mustache in postgame.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like that's well worth $200 right there.
Some people seem to really, really want that.
For $500, if you make a $500 donation, you will come into the studio, watch a game with us, and then get to be a co-host on pre and post game. Whatever you want, we'll figure out a date. $500 gets you in here and gets you on the show for post game. If we reach $1,000 for the day, I will grow my unibrow out for 1 whole month. I shave.
Poor Ava.
Yeah, she's already like, what the hell?
Poor Ava.
I initially said for the month of December, and she was like, so you're going to look ridiculous at the Christmas party. We might wait till January. I shave in between my eyebrows every single day. I will grow it out for 1 month if we reach $1,000. And if we reach $2,000 today, I will dye my hair blonde. And I'll do shows without a hat so everyone can actually see it. All right, so that's what we have going on today. Make sure you make your donations.
Trying to make this as fun as possible.
Yeah, we're trying to have some fun today. We're trying to raise some money for a really good cause. All your donations will go towards our goal of trying to help out the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. But you can see right there, there's individual things, there's goal totals. If we reach any of these, we'll all have a little bit of fun.
So, Brennan, do we get notifications when people donate? Does that, like, is it going to pop up in super chats or whatever? Okay.
And try
Let's
not
see.
to.
Who's going to do it? Who's going to be the first person?
I think you're not supposed to send these in super chats. There's a way to send donations where the super chat button normally is.
Okay.
But make sure you hit the donation thing, because that was a big kerfuffle earlier, and we don't want to be part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution.
Also, it's for a good cause.
Yeah, and it's for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
This isn't going us.
Yeah, I'm not getting this money. I'm just making a fool of myself for the money. Such is life as an entertainer, I suppose, Charlie. All right, now we will get to the crux of the show, and it is the big deal presented by Cherry Hill Jeep. And this is a lot less fun than me doing calisthenics. The big deal presented by Cherry Hill Jeep is the Tyson Foerster injury. And shortly before the show, we were all speculating, maybe it's not that big a deal, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. The Flyers released that it will be about 2 to 3 months that Tyson Foerster will miss with an upper body injury. So let's say he's out now through the Olympic break, which is...
That seems fair.
That seems like the most logical thing.
Right.
That would be 31 games. The target date then would be February 25th, their first day back from the Olympics. So I guess that's like maybe the best we can hope for. And if he's back for those, 2 games at the beginning of February before they take the Olympic break, I suppose that's gravy, but
yeah. That would still be a 29-game absence.
Yeah.
We're talking about a third of the season.
He's going to miss a substantial amount of time. He missed 4 games the first 2 weeks of November. Now he's out a few months. In the previous 2 seasons, Charlie, he's missed 6 total games.
He's really had a kind of a cursed year of 2025 in terms of injuries, because
even the way it's going production-wise, it really hasn't gone well for him health-wise.
Yeah, health-wise, because obviously there was the issue with the infection in his elbow that he suffered as a result of a minor injury at World Championships. That put his start of season in jeopardy. Now, he was able to recover quick enough to rejoin the team with full contact at training camp about midway through. I think it was about like a week and a half into camp is when he rejoined. And he was able to play in game 1. Then he takes a Morgan Riley shot to the foot early in November, misses 4 games, comes back again. It was like, well, dodge that bullet. So 2 bullets dodged. The third one, though, it's going to put Tyson Foerster down for a while. It's just, I think for me, like, obviously this hurts the Flyers. Tyson Foerster's a good player. He was leading the team in goals. He's one of their, I think, at least in their minds, one of their core pieces. So it's going to hurt the Flyers, and the Flyers are a bubble team. I mean, even I think the most optimistic of us about the Flyers' chances this season view them as a team that's going to be battling for a playoff spot up until game 82, and losing a very good forward for at least a third of the season is going to hurt them. But more than anything, I just feel bad for Tyson Foerster.
Yeah,
because he was in the midst of what really looked like his breakout season. I mean, 10 goals in, I think, 21 games. Is that what it was?
Yes, 10 goals in 21 games, 13 points. Team's leading goal scorer. And if you go back to the end of last season where he was really hot post Tortorella firing, he has just been really freaking good. We've heard over and over again about how solid he was at the World Championships, how Sidney Crosby couldn't stop raving about him to Rick Tocchet in their conversations. It just felt like finally we were seeing the guy who the Flyers have been telling us is, oh, you don't have that much high-end talent. Sure, you got Michkov. All right, you traded for Zegras, maybe Martone. And it's like, whoa. Tyson Foerster, don't forget about him.
They believe in him as that kind of guy.
Yeah, okay, sure, maybe. That maybe was turning into a yes. Like the 10 goals, and he's missed some games. He's the leading scorer. It sucks for him, and it sucks for us, quite honestly, the fans, because we watch every game, and he's one of the guys who made things interesting. It's just a bummer all around that we're going to be without Tyson Foerster, and now it's that next man up mentality. And I suppose maybe now that we know, we don't know exactly what the injury is, but we know about how long he's going to be out. The big deal is, how do they replace him, Chuck?
I think the answer is they can't. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but the answer is you're not going to replace Tyson Foerster unless they call someone up who just completely exceeds expectations. But look, there's a reason why Alex Bump didn't make this team out of camp. If he was as good as Tyson Foerster, he would have made this team out of camp. He didn't. If Nikita Kurbankin was as good as Tyson Foerster, he wouldn't be getting 8-9 minutes a night. Like, sorry, that's just the reality. Like, Tyson Foerster was on pace, even accounting for the 4 games he missed. So you cut 82 games down to 78 because that's the maximum he could have played. He was on pace for 37 goals this year. That's a really, really good player.
Pretty good.
This is not going to be, like, this is not as simple as, just put Kurbankin in his spot and everything will be fine. Like, yes, whoever steps into that open top 9 role is going to have to provide something. Is going to have to not be a black hole. Is going to have to be providing goals, be providing assists, be providing two-way play. But more than anything, in my mind, this is going to have to be a collective effort. Everyone is going to have to play a little bit better. They're going to have to get more, and I think we were all expecting this, but they're going to have to get more from Matvei Michkov. They're going to have to get more from Travis Konechny. They're going to have to get more from the centers. From, Noah Cates is going to have to up his game because he won't have Tyson Foerster beside him, making his life easier. And Cates is a good player. But you can't tell me it wasn't easier for Cates to be Cates when he had a guy like Foerster winning all those battles along the boards and having that plus shot to back off defenses. It made Cates' life easier. Now Cates' life is going to be a little bit harder. And at the very least, he's going to have to continue to play at his current level without Foerster, which means he's going to have to play better. Everyone's going to have to play better.
Everyone absolutely is going to have to be considerably better than they've been. I think right away it falls on Michkov and it falls on Konechny, because those are the guys that we've just wanted a little bit more from. And I think we've been starting to see it. It's been coming around. But now it's, if they are actually going to stay in this thing more than everyone in the East is in it, like if it's going to be more than that for this team, it's going to fall on those two. And then the opportunity that this presents. We always say, that next man up mentality, that's what somebody else is going to have to step up into. You mentioned Noah Cates. He has 3 points in his last 11 games. They all came in one game, Charlie. We have all been impressed, I think, with what Noah Cates has turned himself into. Mm-hmm. But if he is truly like one of the future pieces of this team, he needs to be a little better.
Or at least, it's hard to say future pieces because, like, what is the future?
Current,
at the very least, he is. If he is as important of a present piece as we want to believe he is, he needs to perform very well in the absence of Tyson Foerster and show that, like, this wasn't a, the line only works when everyone is on the line. This is all 3 players are real good, regardless of whether they're on a line together, and they just elevate their games. Now, Noah Cates is going to have to up his game to account for the fact that he's not going to have quite as much support on the wing, at least in terms of two-way play.
And to that point, Bobby Brink. We all like the way he started the season. We said he is now making the case they are going to have to trade some wingers at some point. Like, that's just the way it's going to break down. If Zegras is a winger and Porter Martone is going to be here as soon as next season, like, guess what? There aren't enough spots in the top 9. We're talking about, 6 wingers, and there's like 12 of them in the organization that could maybe fill those spots. Bobby Brink was making a real case for himself in the first few weeks of the season. 1 goal, no assists in his last 12. Again, there's more to the game than scoring points, but if you're going to be in the top 9, you have to score points. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. So we are looking for these guys to step up. I want to talk about the options on the other side, but for now, that is the Cherry Hill Jeep. Big deal. It is a big deal. They're without Tyson Foerster, and it's a big deal who is going to step up in his absence. Now, let's take our first break. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. From the 90 million users worldwide to the over 78 different sports live streamed on the Bet365 app every single year. But I got to tell you about the NHL early payout offer. It's my absolute favorite thing that Bet365 offers. If your team goes up by 3 goals, boom, you win. That means in 2 of the last 3 Flyers games, if you bet them on the money line, you would have got a payoff well before the ending was decided because they simply opened up a 3-goal lead. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New users now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now it's time to tell you about Xfinity because Xfinity is the ultimate sports destination. Listen, nobody wants to juggle 20 different apps and have all this lagging and buffering, especially if you're the host. If you're the one who always wants to have everyone over because you're the big fan with the great setup, you have to have Xfinity because Xfinity is the only way to watch all your favorite teams and all the best games all in one place with the enhanced 4K picture and sound that's so clear, feels like you're in the arena. And let's not forget the multi-view where you can watch up to 4 games at once, all while getting live notifications and stats right on your TV so you can keep up with all your fantasy teams and parlays. So make sure next game day you're a big fan, not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. All right, Charlie. So the way I see it, there are a number of options that the Flyers could go. The least popular would be Nikita Grabenkin jumps into the top 9. That would be fine. We want to see him get a little run there. And Nick Delorier simply plays every game on the 4th line, a 4th line that isn't very good.
Still doesn't have a goal.
It has not accounted for a single goal yet this season. Now, whenever Delorier plays, the team tends to win, which is pretty impressive. I realize we talk about plus minus being a flawed stat all the time, Charlie. But I am kind of impressed by the fact that Nick Delorier only plays on the 4th line. He has played in 11 games. That line has accounted for no goals, and he's only a -2. I find that impressive because it's not like he gets a ton of special teams time where it's like, yeah, but he's getting killed on the penalty kill. Like, he's not killing penalties.
Yeah,
He's like, I am kind of impressed by that, but I don't think anyone, including me, would be like, all right, D'Lo, every single night, let's do it. How likely an option you think that is?
I don't think it's likely. Now, do I think that it could mean that Delorier... Like, Delorier's in the rotation. I think that is just the way it is now. Like, even with Tyson Foerster, Delorier was getting in games.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to change. I think Delorier is going to remain in a 4th line rotation that will continue to annoy people who don't want Nick Delorier in a 4th line rotation. So I don't think that's going to change, but I think it's unlikely that their response to the Tyson Foerster injury is going to be, okay, Nick Delorier is now an every night player. I don't think they're going to do that because I think they know, number one, that Nick Delorier is not an every night NHL player. He's a specialist. That's what he is. He is a guy that you pick and choose spots where you think he can provide value in terms of fights, or you just need to get him in the lineup because you don't want him sitting for 3 weeks at a time. I think they know that. And number two, I think they know they have players in the AHL who are better served to be every night NHL forwards than Nick Delorier is because they are not specialists. They are players who are better on the forecheck, who bring more of an offensive punch. So do I expect Nick Delorier to remain in the mix? Do I expect him to get games? Sure, I do, because he was getting those games anyway, even with Foerster healthy. But I don't think it's likely they're just going to respond to this by saying, like, all right, Nick Delorier is our 12th forward, and we're going to call up, like, Anthony Richard and have him sit every game. I don't think that's going to happen.
My next option is Grabenkin again, jumps into that top 9, and the rotation becomes more an AHL vet. Tony Dick, Carl Grundstrom, even Elaine Peterson, whoever. One of those guys down there. Now, Tony Dick, we're all big Anthony Richard fans here. This is a pro Anthony Richard podcast, but I don't think that that really moves the needle for fans.
Well, they probably are going to have to get used to that because I think that's what's probably going to happen, at least to start. Now, I do think, though, that you might be selling Grundstrom, who I think is the most likely guy, at least to get the initial call. I think you're selling him short by calling him an AHL vet.
He's not one of those guys.
He's really not now, he's a guy who has been in the AHL this season for the Flyers. That is true. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, like, yeah, they're calling up a guy who's been in the AHL pretty much all year. He got that one game with the Flyers a few weeks ago. But before this season, he was an NHL vet.
He's got almost 300 NHL games.
Last season, he played 56 games in the NHL, no games in the AHL. The season before that, 50 games in the NHL, 2 games in the AHL. Season before that, 57 games in the NHL, 0 games in the AHL. So this really is the first year that Grundstrom has been used like an AHL guy, and it's because San Jose traded him in a salary dump, and the Flyers are like, well, we got a full team, so we just basically picked you up so we could get out from under the Ryan Ellis deal. You're not in our plans. Grundstrom has been playing well for the Phantoms this year. He's got 15 points in 19 games. He does bring a physical element. If I had to guess, I think that is the most likely short-term solution to this, which is going to be they're going to bump Gurbankin up to the top 9, and they're going to call up Grundstrom, who is like Anthony Richard and Lane Peterson are AHL players.
Yeah.
They're AHL players who can come up in a pinch and play in NHL games. Carl Grundstrom is more of an NHL player who has been playing in the AHL, and them calling him up would be more like, okay, well, we had an NHL player in the AHL. Now he's playing in the NHL. Now, is that going to excite people? Probably not. Carl Grundstrom is not an exciting player. I think he's more fun than you might realize. He plays a physical game. He has some skill. His underlying numbers at the NHL level actually have been pretty good. So it's not like he's a liability at even strength, but he's not going to produce much offensively. Like, that, he's just not going to do it. He had 9 points in 56 games last year. He's not exciting. The exciting part of this, really, if you're really boiling it down, is the idea of finally seeing Nikita Gurbankin in top 9 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the part that I think we all can get behind, and I do think, at least to start, that is going to be the play.
I think Grundstrom and maybe Dorwart should be up anyway, simply because like this fourth line is horrible.
Fair.
Like, and like, again, these are Rodrigo Abels straight up won the job in training camp. He did. He was very, very good in the preseason. He won the 4C job, hands down. Since the season has begun, if you continue to evaluate, who is he? He's just a guy out there right now. Garnet Hathaway, I have been a fan since he got here. It was brought to my attention, and then they kind of like got into it a little last night because they actually showed the play he gets concussed on. You think maybe he still feels after effects, or maybe he's just 34, as Steve and I were talking about last night. Like, maybe he's just a 34-year-old who's played nothing but hard minutes his whole career, and eventually you're not the same player you were a couple of years ago. Because
and it's not like he was coming from like an exceptionally high.
Yeah, that's
like, it's not like when Claude Giroux gets worse, he's still a good middle 6 forward.
He's a 50-point player. Like, no, like we watched Crosby last night. Like, all right, he's not the best player in the world anymore, but
he's like top 20.
He's top 10. Yeah, like, he's awesome. He's awesome still, you know? Like, when Hathaway, it's like, yeah, nice fourth liner. Any team would want him to, ooh, what's he giving you out there? He did, I think, got credited with 7 hits, but I didn't see any of them.
Yeah, he's hitting people, but it's not like the bone crunching, the memorable style like it has been in years past.
I just, like, I think this fourth line is due for a revamp anyway.
I agree.
So, like, maybe those guys should be up regardless. I don't know how you handle the waivers and the,
I think with Dorwart, because I do agree with you, it's not like Abels has blown the doors off by any means. He's not producing either. I don't think Dorwart has been that good in the AHL, and you'd basically just be calling him up because, like, well, we got to try something.
See if it works.
Like, I get, but I think they're looking at it as they want to see him excel before they give him a shot, because Abels did win the job. And they're like, well, we'll just keep giving him shots until someone down there is like, I need to be there and I can play center. Now, Hathaway, it's a fair point. And if you want to put it, let me put it this way. I would be totally accepting, even supportive of the idea of like, okay, if you have to have Nick Deslauriers in this rotation because he's on the team and he's a member of the team, and once you put him on the roster, he's in it. Okay, fair. Call up Grundstrom and then have the 3 of them, Deslauriers, Hathaway, and Grundstrom, do a rotation. Sit Hathaway for a game here and there. Put Grundstrom in with Deslauriers.
Maybe it would benefit Hathaway.
Like if you have to get Deslauriers in a game because you want to have him in there because they got a tough guy or he hasn't played in 2 weeks, fine. But don't necessarily pull Grundstrom out. Maybe pull Hathaway out and keep Grundstrom in. Like, try new things, because whatever this fourth line is, it's not good. It hasn't been good this year. At the very least, now we're getting Gurbankin out of there, and we're getting to see if, like, okay, is he really an underwhelming player, or is he just look underwhelming because he's on a line that can't do anything? Or is it just like, yeah, get him in the top 9, he's going to kill it?
Yeah, well,
I'm excited to see what Gurbankin can do in the top 9.
I am. And that, although, while I'm excited for that, there is this third option, Charlie. Gurbankin continues to play kind of the run he's getting right now. Maybe Delorier and Hathaway become the rotation, and he's the regular in that fourth line spot. And here comes Alex Bump.
Yeah, there's that Alex Bump music we hear.
That is the thing that I think everyone
because it's the most exciting
wants to see.
It's the most exciting thing.
It is the most exciting thing. And while the overall numbers, 16 points in 20 games, aren't overwhelming for Bump, he had 3 in his first 8. Now he has 13 points in his last 12, including 3 of his 4 goals. Yeah. Now, that's still not like a huge number of goals, and that's kind of the thing we were kind of banking on him for. Like, preseason predictions, I was, maybe he could have like an RJ Umberger sort of a rookie year, you know, because he's an older college guy, so it's not like he's a 20-year-old rookie or anything. Like, maybe he could have that sort of run, and well, to this point, that hasn't been the case in terms of the goal scoring, but the overall level of play, I think, has risen to the point of, is kind of what we were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bump has definitely put himself back in the mix, and if you rewind the clock back a couple months, he was a favorite to make this team out of camp, especially, ironically, when it was uncertain that Tyson Foerster would play for game 1. It was like, oh, just slide Alex Bump in there. And now Tyson Foerster's out again, so it's like, well, yeah, bring Bump up. I get it. And he has played himself back into the mix for a call-up. Based on what Kevin Kurz reported earlier today, it does seem like they want Bump to spend a couple more weeks. It seems like this is what I've heard about Bump, is that he started out the season really poor in the AHL. He kind of had some like good remedial video sessions with their development staff, and since then he's been turning a corner. He's been trending in the right direction. He's been producing. They might just be like, we want to see it for a little bit longer because he's still sort of taking into account all the things we've been telling him to do. And maybe they don't think he's quite mastered those things yet, so they don't want to like rush him up and then have him, bad habits creep back into his game. It's like, we're finally going through a breakthrough with him. Let's not rush it. Let's try to let these things stabilize, in the AHL before we give him that call up. I think that's probably a lot of their thinking. For me, I'm fine with them keeping Bump down. Look, because I'm not on the ground. I'm not on the developmental ground. I'm not in the room. I don't know what's being said. So that isn't a justification for me. For me, the biggest justification for not calling up Bump right away, it is Nikita Gurbankin. It's that for me,
he's here.
This is the time when we can see if Nikita Gurbankin can hang in a top 9 role because that's what we've wanted. We wanted to see him in this role, not just for a game, not just for a shift, not for a period. We want to see him for a couple weeks. Let's see what he can do, because you're not learning that much, by playing him 8-9 minutes a night with Rodrigo Abels and this version of Garnet Hathaway or Nick Delorier, if they've ever played a game together. You're not learning that much. Put him on a line with Noah Cates. Put him on a line with Sean Couturier and see what he's got and give him 2-3 weeks. If you call up Alex Bump, then by necessity, you got to have Gurbankin staying in this fourth line role, and I just don't think that's serving anyone. So for me, it would be one thing if Bump was scoring at a goal per game pace. It's like, all right, you got to call the guy up. He's just ready. But I'm fine for a few weeks to use this opportunity. Let's try to make some lemonade out of lemons here. It sucks that Tyson Foerster's out, but we can use this to learn about Gurbankin in a scoring role and see what he is. And if Gurbankin can't hang, if he has, in 10 games in a second, third line role, he's got 0 goals and 1 assist, then it's Alex Bump time. They got 2 to 3 months to play with here. They don't need to rush Bump up when you can use this time right now to figure out what you got in Gurbankin, at least in the here and now. Give him a look higher up the lineup. If he pulls it off, great. Now you're much higher on Gurbankin than you were today. If he doesn't, you got Bump, who you can call up as long as he keeps up. That's where I'm at. I'm less concerned about the development of Bump because I don't think it's going to hurt him to spend a few extra weeks down there. I want to see Gurbankin in a role, and I don't desperately need to see Bump so bad that I want to keep Gurbankin in a fourth line role just to get Bump up immediately.
I think your point about Bump is important just in terms of his development. Maybe that's not, it would be cool to see him, and I don't think him staying there or coming up for a few weeks is like going to be make or break for him either way. I will say, and listen, I don't watch a ton of Phantoms games. I'll tell you that straight up. I got a lot of other things going on in my life. But Maddie Campbell was on, she was on Flyperbole with our own Steve Jaco the other day, and Steve told me, like, yeah, Maddie thinks he just needs a little bit more time, and the thing about this injury being long-term, as depressing as that is, we got a little bit more time. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. Now, if we go on the Disney on Ice trip, and it's like, yeah, Grabenkin hasn't done anything in 2 weeks, and what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, D'Lo's playing every night. That doesn't really interest me.
I don't want to give Grabenkin like the longest of all leashes, but I want to give him a few weeks.
Yeah, give him a couple of weeks, absolutely. But the thing about Bump, while the overall numbers since Halloween are good, last 7 games, no goals. Like, he's not exactly, yes, 13 points in his last 12, that is good. It's what you want to see. You want to see him scoring a little bit more. That doesn't... It's not the end of the world for me if he's not up, before the new year or whatever. We will see how that all works out. He could catch fire. I don't know when the Phantoms play next. Let's say it's tonight. He scores a hat trick tonight. My opinion's going to change dramatically. But like, I will be on this show whenever we're on next going, it's got to be Bump. But until that happens, like, I'm good with the Grabenkin in the top 9 thing. As much as I like Delorier, though, there has to be another supplement for that fourth line.
Yeah.
And listen, and again, like, it's not just D'Lo I'm talking about here. That whole fourth line, you suspect.
Yeah.
Like, you are all on the chopping block as far as I am concerned.
Nobody's job should be safe. The fourth line hasn't been good.
We are now 25 games into this season. It's not 7 games anymore where it's like, oh, that's weird. They haven't scored, huh? You'd think they'd have one. Now we're more than a quarter of the way through the season, and they don't have anything yet. That's unacceptable.
It is. Certainly. It's completely
there needs to be some sort of change there, whether this injury happened or not, quite honestly. But now is a time where you might start shuffling things. All right. That is, I think, basically all that. There is one more option I want to get to on the other side, but it leans into something else that was reported in the last couple of days. But right now, we got to take our second break. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. I have to tell you now about one of our newest sponsors here. It is Aura Frames, and this is really, I got one of these the other day, and I am absolutely freaking loving this thing. It is the perfect last-minute gift lifesaver. I'm an only child, so my parents always went all out for the holidays, but you know what that does to me now? Kind of puts a lot on my shoulders. What the hell do you get your mom? You don't know. You want to get her something good. You don't want to just get her a gift card, anything like that. Get her something special, something she will absolutely appreciate. Get her an Aura frame. You can upload unlimited photos and video. Just download the Aura app and connect to Wi-Fi. You can even preload photos before this thing ships. So when you give this to your mom or your dad or whoever on Christmas morning, they open it up, plug it in. They've already got photos that they can look at. You can personalize your gift, add a message before it arrives. So many ways to make this the absolute best gift you've ever given. And you get a gift box included. Every frame comes packaged in a premium gift box with no price tag. That's always nice. Personally, I like to leave the price tag on there to let them know how much I care. But, it's the classic thing not to have the price tag on there. You can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver Matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter by using the promo code PHLY at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code PHLY. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Now it's time to tell you, speaking of great gifts, how about Bucci Jewelers? We all know the feeling. You walk into that jewelry store, you're trying to pick out something for your significant other. Suddenly, you're in over your head. You don't know what you're doing. What's the difference between all these diamonds, cut cut, color. I don't know what any of this means. I'm about to spend a bunch of money and I don't know what I'm doing. That feeling is stressful. And that's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer, because these guys make the whole process seamless. From the minute you walk in, they treat you like family because they actually listen. They help you figure out what your partner will love, and then their team designs something completely custom right there in-house. There's no pressure or pushy sales vibe, just good people who love what they do, and the end result, something you're proud to give and that they'll never forget. So next time you need that perfect piece, go see Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design. 30 plus years in the game, voted Philly's #1 jeweler year after year. Over 1,000 5-star reviews speak for themselves. Check them out today at BucciJewelers.com and tell them PHLY sent you. All right, Charlie, there is the one unspoken option. They could make a trade.
They could make a trade.
They could make the roster better, or at least attempt to replace the production of Tyson Foerster by going out and spending assets on a player who's kind of good. That, I know, foreign to many of us over the years.
And they haven't been operating like that.
No, it's not been their
start
thing.
of the rebuild.
Sure.
It would be a pivot. Like, the Zegras trade was different because that was a buy low on a guy who can be part of the future type of trade. This would be more of a, hey, we're in the playoff
Hey, we need a thing.
We need a thing, and we want to keep the guys, we want to keep the team competitive. We don't want to fall too off because we lost Tyson Foerster, so we're going to make a trade to boost the team while Foerster's out. It would be a shift. Not necessarily a dramatic shift, depending on what they were to give up, but it would be a shift if they were to respond to this by making a trade. But you can't rule it out because they are they still in a playoff spot after last night?
I don't. Points and points percentage.
It's so close.
Everyone in the East is basically in it. Let's take a quick look at the standings here. They are by total points in the second wild card, and by points percentage. Both Pittsburgh and Philly are at 620, and Washington by total points is third in the Metro.
So they're in the wild card
like,
both by points percentage and by total points.
They're like in the mix.
So
yeah.
it is interesting because Tyson Foerster is a big part of this team. We know that. He's a huge part of this team, and he's going to be out at least through the beginning of February, most likely through the Olympic break. If they were going to pivot towards we want to make the playoffs, a trade could be something they could do. I'm skeptical they'll do it, but I guess you can't rule it out entirely.
And that brings us to the report from Elliot Friedman. I believe this was on Monday's 32 Thoughts. He says, and this is a couple of shows after, he said, I heard Philly's calling around. They're calling around about centers. Now, they've focused, when he reported this a few shows ago, depth centers, third and fourth line guys, which made a ton of sense to me because, again, Rodrigo Apples playing every night for this team. Now he says, Vancouver has players Tocchet likes. Couple of people said to me, you better keep an eye on Philly when it comes to Vancouver's players. We're not even talking about Hughes. Everyone likes Hughes. Now, yeah, of course. If you can get Quinn Hughes, you try, even if there is the idea you're getting him for this year. And next year,
and then you got to convince him.
And then you got to convince him not to go to Jersey.
Right.
So there's that. That said, I guess there are some interesting-ish options in Vancouver. I just don't know how many would, one, make sense for the Flyers, or two, just kind of hoping that they're not of this frame of mind. We will start with Kiefer Sherwood because his name's come up a lot just in terms of guys who may get traded.
He's obviously A, available, and B, given his contract situation, he would fit the bill as a temporary Foerster stopgap who Tocchet knows by coaching him last year. So he is probably, if we're going down this Vancouver road, would be the most logical guy for the Flyers to go after.
So first, Kiefer Sherwood. Now, it's not as if he's been unproductive in his career. 2 years ago, 10 goals, 27 points. Last season, 19 goals, 40 points. And I believe set the hits record with 462. He at least challenged it. And just a pretty crazy one there. But he's a pending UFA. He's 30 years old. He does already have 12 goals this season, which is, his career high is I think 19. So he's right there. It would probably be a little expensive. He is a winger, and while we are trying to replace a winger right now, does it make sense to resign a 30-year-old when you already have all these wingers? Like, it's a rental in all likelihood. Yeah. I just don't know if I love this move as entertaining as having someone handing out 500 hits a season would be. And then there's the possibility, now this wouldn't be a direct response to the Foerster injury, but just looking at this report and what the Flyers are interested in, Philip Hronek, he's Quinn Hughes' D partner. He's got a no movement clause this season and the next two. 15-team no trade list after that till his contract expires on July 1st, 2032. But he's 28 years old. He's a 40-ish point defenseman. I don't think this is the craziest thing in the world because we do know they are looking for another top four defenseman, or at least someone who can maybe play in that role on top of who they have, especially if we have no idea when Rasmus Ristolainen is coming back. He has been spotted recently, but do you think either of these guys make any sense, Charlie?
I mean, I think Sherwood makes sense if you're trying to help the team now, but not lock yourself into a long-term contract because of the Foerster injury. Like, it would make sense as a stopgap if they have reached the point internally where they're willing to burn future assets for Band-Aids. Because that's what Sherwood would be. And look, Sherwood ain't a perfect player. Yeah, he's a physical guy. He'd probably be a fan favorite because of how much he hits. He's been producing a lot this year. Even in the past 2 years, he produced decently. You know, at like quality bottom sixer last year, I think he had 40 points. So he's a good third liner, let's say. Let's say he's a good third liner. Underlying number's not great. He's not a play driver. He's not a great player. He's a fine player. But if you want to acquire somebody to plug in for Tyson Foerster and then you can bump him down and turn him into a super fourth liner for the rest of the year once Foerster comes back, yeah. I don't know how much that would cost, but I imagine the Flyers will at least check in to see, especially knowing that I'm probably Taka was a fan of it. Hronek I don't like. I'll tell you why. Because I think he's a product of Quinn Hughes. I think this is a guy where he's a perfectly fine top four defenseman who is paid a significant amount of money right now, almost entirely because he is Quinn Hughes' partner. And I think if you take him away from Quinn Hughes, he will go back to being a perfectly fine number four. I think he's a four being paid like a two because he's on a pair with Quinn Hughes. That's my opinion of Hronek.
I think you have a much higher opinion. I'm just guessing here. And not that this guy's available, but I just think of like product of superstar. I think is Devon Taves really that good? Like,
I have a much higher opinion.
You have a much higher opinion of Taves. Okay,
yeah.
So do I. I was just trying to see where
I know. I think Taves is a legitimate top pair defenseman. I do not think Philip Hronek is a legitimate top pair defenseman without Quinn Hughes.
Cool. All right. I was just checking there. Outside of those two guys who are maybe the most obvious trade, most available guys, Brock Besser just resigned. That doesn't seem to make a ton of sense.
He's a good player, but I don't know why they would trade him after resigning him.
Elias Pettersson, can't imagine that of the guys in Vancouver Tocchet is high on, he's one of them, but maybe.
I would be shocked.
It would be a surprise.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of the reasons why Tocchet no longer wanted to stay in Vancouver is because he's like, well, I don't think you're going to be able to win a cup with, because I think he likes Pettersson personally, but I think he doubts Pettersson's ability to be the kind of guy you rely upon through 4 playoff rounds and win a cup.
Then there is Connor Garland. He also signed an extension in July. He's got a no move, basically same protection as Besser and Hronek. Garland might make some sense, except I don't know, they just signed him.
His contract kicks in next season. Yep. He'll be 30. I love Connor Garland as a player. He's a guy where, the rational side of me is no, he doesn't make sense. The emotional side of me is get me Connor Garland. He's awesome. He's a fantastic advanced stat player. Basically what Connor Garland is, and it's not an apples to apples stylistic comparison, but it's close enough that you're at least in the ballpark. He is basically what we're hoping Bobby Brink will become.
Okay.
Where he is, he scores 50 points a year, drives play to a ridiculous degree, plays a relentless style. He's also an undersized winger, but he brings so much to the table that he's just a guy you want on your team. Brink looks like that at his best. Garland looks like that every game. That said, Bobby Brink is in his early 20s and Connor Garland is 29 going on 30. Is this really the time? To me, a trade that would make sense if the Flyers were gunning for a cup is to trade Bobby Brant for Connor Garland. That makes sense to me. You're trading a guy who could become Connor Garland for Connor Garland. The thing is that, like, does it fit the Flyers' timeline? Like, I'd love to have Connor Garland on this team, but probably you're better off hoping Bobby Brant becomes Connor Garland than trading for the guy who is Connor Garland, but in 3 years won't be.
Yeah, he's got Garland, just to put a bow on that, about 50 points a season the last 4 years. This year, 15 points in 21 games. He's a little over his typical average.
He's a good player.
He's a good player. It's just like, I don't know, should we be trading for 30-year-olds at this point? Like, is that something that makes a ton of sense for
he's
this
got
team?
a 6-year deal kicking in next year.
Yeah, a 30-year-old who is signed forever with a ton of protections.
Right.
Outside of anyone, like, obviously, again, Quinn Hughes exists, but outside of these guys, like, I don't know, is there anyone really in Vancouver you're like, that's the one they're talking about?
Yeah, not really. The reason why it's tough with Vancouver is you have Friedman, which he didn't really, like, address the clear discrepancy between these two things. He goes, the Flyers really want to get a center. And then he's like, and they really might be talking to Vancouver. And then you look at Vancouver, but they don't have any centers.
Yeah, the center
Their one
they
center
have
is Pedersen, who we're pretty sure Taka wouldn't want on his team anyway.
The center they have is the guy that, like, probably doesn't make any sense considering our coaching decision.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if these two things are related, if someone is just connecting dots for Elliott. Like, hey, Tocchet likes some guys who are in Vancouver, and we know the Flyers are working the phones. Maybe that's what they're doing. I'm having trouble just seeing what actually makes sense. That said, I'm sure as today's show will end, they'll trade for Kiefer Sutherland. They'll trade for Keith or Sherwood.
I think
we'll have to live in that world.
Sherwood's the one guy who makes sense to me. Now, I probably wouldn't do it because I'm not at the stage where I want to be trading away picks for rentals. I'm just not. But he would make sense to me. You could sell him. Like, the Flyers could trade a second-round pick for Kiefer Sherwood and then get up there. Danny could get up in front of the podium and be like, we needed a boosted wing. Sherwood's having a great year. He's a Flyer-type player. He plays physical. You're going to love him. And then we can bump him down. He can play fourth line. He can give our fourth line a supercharge because our fourth line's been bad when Foerster's back, or even maybe before that if Bump gets a call up. Like, you could justify it. It's just probably not a move I would make because I think, A, you'd be buying high on a guy who probably is going to regress. B, I don't think the age quite fits, especially when you've already got Hathaway locked up for another couple years after this. And finally, I don't really want to be giving up assets for rentals at this point. I don't think the Fly, even if it's not a prime asset, I don't think the Flyers are there yet.
All that stuff still comes into play, like when you're trying to put a package together for a guy who might be here 3 years from now, you know? All right. On the other side, we're going to read your super chats. We still have the Future is Bright segment to get to, but right now, I got to tell you about Shady Rays. You know that moment, the one where you realize you left your glasses at a gas station 3 states away, or if you're like me, you wore them into the ocean, and next thing you know, there they go, out with the surf. Well, that has been a huge problem for me, so much so that I kind of stopped wearing all my favorite pairs of shades. That is until I found Shady Rays, because with Shady Rays, they have the best protection plan in the business. That's right. Not only are their sunglasses made for real life, seriously good-looking, polarized, durable, not crazy expensive, but if you lose or break your Shady Rays, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair, no guilt trip, just replacements. So now I actually wear my favorite sunglasses without fear. Wear them to concerts, wear them to the beach, wear them every single day because I can. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. And we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And now, of course, it's time to tell you about Ace Hardware. Ace is the place, that's right. When the weather turns chilly, the last thing you need is a home project, just another one added to the list. And that's where Ace Hardware comes in, because Ace Hardware Home Services brings trusted local pros right to your door to help you get your home ready for the colder months. From heating tune-ups and plumbing fixes to generators and emergency repairs, their experts handle it all. No guesswork, no stress, just a local pro to get the job done right, and satisfaction guaranteed. Find the help you need for your next home project at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
All right, before we continue on this discussion, We're at 103 likes. Okay. I know you're not happy with the Flyers at the moment, not because of anything they did, just because of misfortune, but hit that like button. Let's get to 150 by the end of this show, folks.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And let's see some donations for Giving Tuesday. Don't you want to see me do a cartwheel? Don't you want to see me try to do a kip up and hurt myself? I know that will be very funny for a lot of you. If we get to $1,000, I'm growing my unibrow out for a month. If we get to $2,000, I will dye my hair blonde for your entertainment. What could be better than this? A $200 donation every time someone donates $200. Charlie, mustache on post game.
I'm told that one person has donated 200.
So at least
it's happening once.
At least one post game with a mustache, Charlie, will be there. The 500. What's the $500 one? Oh, you get to come into studio. $500. You're in studio, watch a game with us, and co-host post game. That sounds like a pretty good opportunity to me. Get your donations in. Come on. This is fun stuff. All right. Now it is time for The Future is Bright, presented by Shady Rays. Get your 35% off at shadyrays.com with code PHLY. All right, Chuck. It was a pretty big bummer of a show.
Yeah.
Because of the Tyson Foerster injury.
Yeah.
We are all bummed out by that fact. However, there is reason for happiness, and it is a glut of Flyers prospects who look pretty good. We have to lead it off with the guy everyone's calling for right now. It is Alex Bump. 13 points, 3 goals, 10 assists in his last 12 games. He certainly is starting to look like the guy we thought was maybe not a lock, but a pretty decent chance to make this team out of camp. And then when he didn't, it was a pretty big disappointment. And his teammate down there in the AHL in Lehigh Valley, Denver Barkey, 11 points, including 6 goals in his last 10. He has also really turned it on. And those two, I think, are a big part of why there's like some genuine excitement around the Phantoms right now.
Yeah, I mean, Bump, as you said, we expected him to play well, especially when he impressed at the end of last season when he had his call up at the AHL level after he, after his team won the Frozen Four. But he's been getting going. He will play in the NHL this year. Like, Alex Bump is going to get NHL games. It's more a matter of when, not if. I suspect that during this run of 2 to 3 months, Bump will be up and he will get his shot. Now, maybe that'll come because Gurbankin flops in a top 9 role. Maybe that'll come because somebody else gets hurt too. Because I think now that you've got Gurbankin in that spot, now if someone else gets hurt, I think Bump's getting the call, because then it's like, oh man, now we really need offensive punch. We've already lost Foerster, and now we lose whoever. All right, Bump, you're getting your shot. But even if that doesn't happen, I think Bump will eventually get a look, as long as he continues to play well, which I suspect he will. Barkey, I'm excited for Denver Barkey. I think he has been very impressive in his first season in the at the pro level, at the AHL level. He's showing that he can still do it, despite the fact that he's jumping up to the pro game, and that's exciting. I don't think they are rushing to get him up here. I think that if he gets a call up, it would be probably later in the season, not at this point. They still want more physical development. I had a conversation with a member of the Flyers front office in preseason. It was when Barkey was rolling. And it's just like, so what do you think about this kid? And what I was basically told was, we love him. He's going to be real good. We're excited about him. He needs to build his lower body strength more than anything else. That's where he needs to make gains. I suspect that's where they're focusing on with him in terms of all of his training, his off-ice training. I just don't think he's a guy they're going to rush up because they just think he needs more work, even if the on-ice results are there. So Barkey's more of a long-term exciting thing rather than a guy they're going to rush up. But both those guys they're getting it done. And it's fun to see them get it done at the AHL level.
There is, of course, Porter Martone in the NCAA. 10 goals, 9 assists in 14 games. He hasn't had consecutive games without a point this season, and he leads Michigan State in scoring. That's pretty impressive for the
Martone rules, man.
Martone is, oh man, he's the guy right now that I think is giving everyone the most hope, even if they're like disappointed in what they've seen out of Michkov. It's like, imagine when these two guys get together and we have Zegras here. It's like there is starting to be a core of these young guys with a ton of ability. Jet Luchenko. Now, we know about the Luchenko trade. We talked about it last week. He had 17 points in 11 games with Guelph. He has 2 assists in his first 3 games with Brantford. Both came in the same game. He had a +4 rating against Kitchener in that game. It was a 4-3 win. So this was a tightly contested game, and he and his line mates basically won it for them. That's pretty big. I know there's been a lot going on about Jack Nesbitt recently, and it's been kind of negative. There was one of those player comparable things going on.
Oh, was there? I missed this.
Height and weight and production level, and it was like, oh, he's like maybe Adam Lowry, stuff like that.
Oh, I got you.
5 points in his first 7 games of the season, but 15 in his last 12 for Windsor. So maybe he's starting to get going a little bit. He can change a little bit of that narrative. I know we were all pretty impressed with him in the preseason, but so too were we with Rodrigo Abels. So that remains to be seen.
I think Nesbitt has always been viewed by the organization as a bit of a project. Yeah. He needs to get the skating better. And I don't think he's going to pop. He's going to truly pop offensively, maybe not at any level until the skating gets better. I've always been operating under the assumption that this is going to be his last year in juniors. Then next year, he's probably going to go to college for a year. Then he's going to turn pro. I think that's the path the Flyers envision him being on. And it was interesting, because I've been thinking this too. Vineet Singh brought up in our chat that the name that was brought up, the names, I guess is probably better to say, that were brought up to compare to Jack Nesbitt pre-draft were the Geekies. And that one Geeky in Boston,
Morgan's doing pretty good.
He's rolling. Now, it took him time because, again, he needed to get better at skating. Now he's a goal scoring machine, and I think the Flyers are going to look at that and be like, if we're patient with Nesbitt, maybe we can get him to be an impact player at some point down the road. It just may not be like, it's not going to be Martone, where Martone's going to come up and immediately you're like, yo, this dude can play.
Yeah.
Nesbitt, I think it's going to take more time.
We go over to Russia, Charlie. Zavragin. He has a .924 and a sub-250 goals against in the KHL, and in his 3 VHL games, just a 0.99 goals against and a .964 save percentage. Now, he's 10th or 11th in save percentage. The guy he's tied for 10th with has 5 more games, so he's in 11th in terms of KHL save percentage. But all the players in front of him, I think 5 or 30, 2 are 27. There's a 25-year-old and a pair of 22-year-olds. Zavragin turned 20 in August. So that's kind of what you're dealing with there at a much, much younger age, 10 years for some of these guys he is in line with. He has been on fire in the KHL.
Yeah, the tough thing for Zavragin right now, though, is he's down in the VHL because they have 2 goalies. Now, Zavragin's been great in the KHL. He's producing, he's delivering solid numbers, better than solid numbers, but the 2 guys above him on their depth chart are both older than him, so it may be a case of he just doesn't have seniority when all 3 of them are playing well. Now, when he goes down to the VHL, which is functionally
dominant,
that's the AHL of the KHL, basically.
Yeah.
He's been unreal because he's way too good for that league, and we all know it. He's going to put up video game numbers down there, and maybe he will continue to put up video game numbers down there, but ideally you'd want him to be getting regular time in the KHL. I hope that situation resolves itself. I'm just not sure it will. That's a little bit of a concern. Not because I'm concerned about him. I just would rather him be getting tested with the toughest competition possible. And right now it seems like he is the number 3 in that team's depth chart through no fault of his own, which is a bit of a bummer.
And then, of course, Oliver Bonk, it was reported today, activated, sent down to the Phantoms, so we should be seeing Oliver Bonk
play
soon.
this weekend.
And Shane Van Sage, despite a slow start in the NCAA, has been named to the Team USA preliminary roster for the World Juniors, so that's pretty cool for him as well. That is the Shady Rays Future is Bright segment. After today's show, stay tuned, just continue watching. We are going to show you an interview with Paul Granese. Who is Paul Granese? Local artist who designed this shirt that will be given away at tomorrow's Flyers-Sabres game.
I believe he's also a viewer of the show.
And a
could be in the chat right now.
Yeah, could be watching the show right now for all we know. Longtime fan of the Flyers. He got an opportunity to be the latest artist featured in the Local Artist Collection series of shirts that the Flyers have been giving away. We will show you that as soon as we wrap up today's show. Let's get to Super Chats. And as we head to Super Chats, only one, I got to tell you, we're headed to overtime. Go to allphly.com to continue watching. Just the one Super Chat for us today, and it's from Mukmat. Any thoughts on Robert Thomas on the Blues? Any chance Briere and company would be interested? Solid top six center, and the Blues have been struggling.
Yeah, we talked about him last week.
We talked about this when the Blues were in town or something?
Yeah, we talked about him last week.
Yeah.
Should the Flyers be interested? Absolutely. He's a quality center. He's probably, I would say, a lower end 1C. I think that's probably the best way to put it. He is a 1C. He can be a 1C on a team that makes the playoffs, and maybe even on a team that can be a cup contender if you have really good wings, which the Flyers are projecting to have. So he's certainly worth a call. You want to see if he's available. You want to see how much he would cost. My answer when we talked about this last week was that I just don't get the sense that he's the guy the Blues want to trade. I think they are much more motivated to try to trade Jordan Kyrou if they're going to do a big shakeup of their top core pieces. And I just don't think he's a guy where, like, they'll listen because they're bad. And you got to listen when you're in that situation. And the Flyers should absolutely check in. I'm sure Danny has. I just don't get the sense that Thomas is the guy they want to move. So if you're going to pry him away, like, I think people are looking at this as like, oh, the Blues stink. And they said they're open for business. So maybe you can get Thomas for cheap. I don't think that's the case. I think if you're going to, maybe you could get him, but you're going to have to pay up because he's not the guy they want to move.
And not 27 until July 2nd, so still on the younger-ish kind of side there.
He would fit the Flyers timeline.
He would fit the Flyers timeline, at least this current one. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It just, what is it going to cost, and are the Blues actually interested? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
All right. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you get them donations in. Donate right next to the chat box. You see all the things we are willing to do for cash, mostly me going to potentially injure myself.
A lot of cartwheels coming.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But until next time, thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Follow us here on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast as well. I am Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Thank you, as always, to Brenna. Be excellent to each other. We are pleased to be joined today, Charlie and I, by one of the local artists that's going to be featured in the Flyers Local Artists Collective series. It is Paul Granese. Paul, awesome to have you with us here today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, and it's going to be one of your designs featured on a giveaway shirt in an upcoming Flyers game. I believe it's the Buffalo game. What was the process for being one of the artists selected for this?
Well, the Flyers got in touch with me, I think, in July, and basically sent over. I don't know if you guys seen the Bruce Springsteen album cover, "Greetings from Asbury Park." It's like a vintage postcard look. And I was like, this is perfect for me because I'm a big fan of like vintage matchbooks and postcards and everything. And they just wanted to say like Philadelphia Flyers with like players juxtaposed in each letter. Yeah. And then they sent over a list of players and kind of fit them in there.
That's great. We've seen a few of these shirts released already, and now yours will be the next. And my next question was, I saw it was inspired by the Greetings from Asbury Park album cover. I'm a huge Springsteen fan. Charlie will never admit that. But are you a Springsteen fan, or was this sort of just something you thought worked?
I wouldn't say I'm a huge Springsteen fan. I know the hits and everything. Obviously, he's a legend. So yeah, I was more inspired by doing research on like vintage postcards, I would say. Okay. But yeah, definitely good to do something inspired by Springsteen for sure.
Yeah, Paul, just kind of want to get into you for a sec. I guess, you know, where in the Philly area are you from, and how did you get into art?
So I'm actually from Germantown, but I recently bought a house out in Chester County. I've been doing design and illustration professionally for 16 or 17 years, mostly for the music industry, for pop punk and hardcore and punk bands, emo, all that stuff. So this is my first time doing something for a professional sports team, which is super cool. I actually just worked with the Eagles as well, like around the same time. So it's been a crazy summer for me.
Oh, that's really awesome to hear. It says part of your bio is you've been a fan for a while. You're a lifelong Flyers fan, so this is really a moment for you, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah. And I'm going to be at the game to get the shirt and everything. So hopefully they win.
All right, I gotta ask, since you're speaking my language a little bit. You're talking about pop punk and emo. Give me some favorite bands.
Well, I've been the Wonder Years. I know you're a Wonder Years
I
fan,
am
right?
a Wonder Years guy. Yes.
Yeah, I've been their lead designer for about 10 years. So
Love
I've seen
that.
you wear a
Wow,
couple of my
love that.
shirts.
That's pretty awesome. Paul, what are you hoping people take away from this design? You hoping people remember your name? You hoping it's just a great night out for Flyers fans? Like, how you feeling about having this, and what are you hoping to accomplish?
Yeah, no, forget my name. You don't need to know my name. I really just wanted to, I mean, this is such a cool initiative that the Flyers organization is putting out, like commissioning local artists. And I really just wanted to make a design that people want to wear. That's not just the logo. The logo is awesome, obviously, but like a cool design that's like vintage looking. I'm a big fan of like 90s t-shirts and everything. So that was the vibe I was going for. So hopefully people who go to the game and get the shirt keep it for many years and want to wear it wherever.
Well, I wear a graphic t-shirt every day, so I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one of these. Paul, thank you so much for taking some time out. I worked in band merch for a long time, so I understand today is a ridiculous day for you. Appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
We all silly like the mayor.